room, good morning, and thank you for being here. I'm Shakiba Shayani, CEO at the Guelph Chamber of Commerce, and I'm so happy to be welcoming you all to our 2023 State of the City Address. At the Guelph Chamber, our attention is focused on economic recovery. We're helping build a thriving community through our three objectives. We ensure your business is at its best. We create opportunities like today where you connect with our mayor and where we get to network and strengthen relationships with our peers. We continue to supply over 950 local businesses with rapid tests. We work with community partners like the University of Guelph and their Guelph Arts Apprenticeship Program that subsidizes student placements into the workforce. We provide one of the most competitive health benefit programs for employers in the country. We also promote and influence the policy conditions that enable your business's success. If you're subscribed to our newsletter, which I hope you are, you'll have noticed that we're in the midst of collecting questions and feedback to inform provincial and federal budgets. We're also regularly helping navigate the local relationships and regulations that impact business. And since we believe that business is essential to a prosperous community, we use our platform for and to exemplify community leadership. We ensure your voice is represented on community well-being issues such as on healthcare, including mental health and addictions, as well as matters of sustainability. We also celebrate our members' leadership each year through our Guelph Awards of Excellence event. This year it's taking place on June 15th, and nominations for awards are currently open. The process is quick and easy, and we encourage self-nominations. For more information about all the work we have underway and why you or another business should join this incredible network and what we've got going on, please don't hesitate to reach out directly to me or any one of the team members of the Chamber. So enough about me and us. Let me take a moment and welcome and recognize a few folks in the room this morning. Good morning to Guelph's MP Lloyd Longfield, Guelph's MPP Mike Schreiner, Guelph's Police Chief Gord Kobe and his team, our guest of honor Mayor Cam Guthrie and his fellow city councilors Rodrigo Galler, Kathy Downer, Phil Alt, Leanne Caron, Linda Busatil, Michelle Richardson, Ken Chu, and Carly Klassen, and Dominique O'Rourke. And good morning to city staff. Great to have Dr. Charlotte Yates, President and Vice Chancellor of the University here. And of course, same goes to my board, Brandy Douglas, Michelle McTaggart, Sarah Hanstra, Ray Stoltz, Curtis Tomlinson, Jonathan Cohen, and Scott Barbison, who are in the room today. I would also like to recognize the awesome community partners in the room who continue to contribute to make events like these possible for us. Thank you to the University of Guelph, Electra, Bell, Delta Guelph Hotel and Conference, Enbridge, RBC Royal Bank, Fusion Homes, and to CN Rail. Please join me in thanking all of our sponsors for their dedication to the Chamber, the business network, and our community. To invite up one of those champions, Ryan Scott from Fusion Homes, to say a few words and introduce the mayor.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you, Shakiba, and thank you to the Chamber for putting on this magnificent event. It's unbelievable to see how many people are here today. Very pleased to be here on behalf of Fusion Homes. Where we're excited to work with the city and work with the community to continue investing and building Guelph. We're particularly thrilled with a future that sees the development of the Guelph Innovation District and the journey that that will bring. Now, I have the privilege and honor of introducing someone who in this room probably doesn't need an introduction, but probably deserves one anyway. Cam Guthrie was elected mayor of Guelph in 2014 after serving as councillor in Ward 4. Currently serves as past chair of the Ontario Big City Mayors, a group of 29 mayors of cities with 100,000 people or more, who collectively represent about 70% of Ontario's population. In March of 2022, was appointed to the Global Covenant of Mayors of Climate and Energy Board of Mayors representing North America. Cam was a licensed insurance broker and local entrepreneur for 16 years before becoming mayor. An avid community volunteer, Cam has served on boards of several local not-for-profit organizations and mentored startups and small business owners, holds a business diploma from Sir Sanford Fleming College. An accomplished drummer, Cam has been a member of local bands, played in several studio recordings, and produced and co-produced several albums. Cam's roots in Guelph stretch back to 1919, when his great-grandfather founded Guthrie's Bakery on Quebec Street in downtown Guelph. Cam and his wife Rachel are proud parents of Anakin and Adelaide. Please join me in welcoming Cam Guthrie.
thank you so much. I do really appreciate that. I appreciate you all being here today. It means a lot. This is a wonderful opportunity to start the day. But I will tell you, about 4 people already said, could we do this at brunch next? So, That's our first vote of the day. We go by clapping. Well, I really appreciate it. And you know what I appreciate? I also appreciate Shakiba recognizing so many in the room. So I just want to say ditto. For those of you that come to city council meetings, if someone says something before you, I encourage them, just say the word ditto. But I just do want to thank specifically all my colleagues on council that have been recognized already. Especially those that are new, not that I don't like, the ones that have been around for a while, but especially those that are new with us. The executive team here, I can't thank you enough for the guidance you've given over the last year, and thank you to the entire executive team and management that's here today. From emergency services, of course, we have Chief of Police that was recognized. I don't know if Chief Dewar or Chief Ellaway from EMS or Fire are here, but I just want to make sure that I recognize especially our frontline workers for the work that they do in our community, especially over the last couple of years. Very, very big struggle for our frontline staff in healthcare and emergency services, so thank you very, very much. And of course, my friends from the University of Guelph have been recognized here as well. Thank you very much to you, Charlotte, and to Daniel, and others that have come here today. Really appreciate it. Also, of course, I do have my friends from obviously the federal government with the Liberal Party, of course, is Lloyd Longfield. And of course, Mike Schreiner with the, check my notes here. The Green Party of Oh, I've been so much trouble with it. Thank you to the Chamber. Thank you to the Chamber for putting this on, and especially Shakiba, your leadership as well is just amazing. Thank you so much for all you do in our community, for the business community and more. But also to the Chamber staff sort of behind the scenes as well, that put this whole thing together. This is a lot of work, a lot of behind the scenes work, and thank you for that. And of course the sponsors as well. It's just an absolute pleasure to have you help with this event. And because this is my first State of the City since being re-elected as the mayor, I am going to take the opportunity to thank the voters of Guelph that last fall sent me back here in this leadership position with a strong mandate for my 3rd term. I really do. I love what I do, and so I really appreciate the opportunity to be back here for another 4 years, trying to lead the city with all the people I just recognized, and of course all of you in the entire community. It is everybody that pulls together to make our city the best that it can be. So that's it. Is there any questions? All right. Well, for those of you that come to my State of the City events in the past, you may know what's coming. For those that have joined me for the first time, here's what you can maybe expect a little bit today. First, I am going to look back. I'm going to give some highlights over the 2022 year, some things council and the city have accomplished together. And then secondly, I'm going to give an update where we are today on certain issues, and I'll kind of weave that into what the Chamber of Commerce said on your invites, which was to find out what the vision is of the mayor for 2023. So I'll weave a little bit of that in as well as we move forward. New for this year, though, is my desire to take more questions from the floor after I'm done here. And there's also been questions I've been told sent in advance to the Chamber of Commerce as well. Now, I have one rule when I'm told I'll be speaking somewhere and then answering questions from the people that have attended. And that rule is very, very simple. I am not to be told in advance what those questions are. And Shakiba can attest that and confirm that I have not been given the heads up on any questions at all that has come in, and either from you or on the floor. I will only answer the ones that I like, though. That's my other rule. So anyways, I look forward to that section of the speech today as well. Now, I am known for giving my State of the City address in a manner that pulls together a gimmick or a memorable sort of group project to pull you along during my talks, a spiffy PowerPoint presentation or a table exercise to keep you entertained. But I am not doing that this time. And maybe, but hopefully not, you're not already feeling let down as I'm just starting things off in this way. But I did that on purpose. I need you to listen to my words very carefully today. I need you to watch my demeanor, my body language. I need you to listen to my tone. Because today, I need to tell you straight up what's going on with our city and where I believe we need to go. There are just no gimmicks for the seriousness of the issues I need to address with you today. It's become quiet in here. That's good. I got your attention. So let's begin. What are some of the highlights from 2022? The first up is finances. Coming out of the height of the pandemic, the city remained in such good shape, both with reserves, paying down debt, along with proper forecasting of our capital budgets, that these were just some of the reasons that we were awarded a AAA credit rating from Standard & Poor's. And this positions us so very well for borrowing, lowering costs, and more. And this was one of my goals when I first became mayor, was to achieve this rating. It is often council or mayor that may try to take full credit, and we have a role, certainly, but the unsung heroes that need to be given clear credit, pun intended, is our city staff. Thank you for your work. Guelph thanks you. It's a wonderful, wonderful achievement to receive this credit rating. Sure, you can clap for that. Now, I'm often asked about what we're doing to try to find efficiencies and save taxpayer dollars, and we did a lot in 2022. Service reviews, internal audits, work through the Continuous Improvement Office, connections with the Guelph Lab from the University of Guelph on making processes better for our citizen-appointed committees, the provincial grants provided for the audit and accountability funding, which helped us get KPMG to come into City Hall to do a full service rationalization on the services we provide, and that continues to this date. We, might I say, are finally taking these types of service reviews very seriously, looking for efficiencies, ways to do services better, and offer savings to the citizens of Guelph is paying off. A cultural shift is occurring and more noticeable than I've seen in the past. Lean implementation, Six Sigma processes have now been embedded by many staff to date, with more and more coming on board. We are empowering staff to be on the lookout constantly for doing things better, and I want to give you a couple of examples. In parks, our parks customer service project was led by 2 members of our park team, and they showed a first call resolution rate increase from 75% to 95%, thereby increasing the service experience to anybody that calls into parks and providing a more centralized location to get answers. Another example, by a project of 2 of our members from the Economic Development Department, under strengthening partnerships, they wanted to make sure that they improved those partnerships by increasing response times for any external inquiries that come into that department. And that reduced the decision cycle through the work that they did by 86%. This is what the citizens should expect government to be doing with their money and with government's time. These are just 2 examples, but they never make the headlines. But this is what you need to know. Our internal staff are doing this work. Why? To make your experience better, to save time, and to save your money that you have to earn first before your government takes it. Another key moment this past year was turning underperforming assets into performing assets. Now, 8 years ago, after looking into some of the district energy issues that were laid before us, and upon reflection of those assets, we actually sold that project to a company called Cascara that now has the potential not only of maintaining and operating it, but expanding that district energy system in our downtown core to help with heating and cooling. This will also help in the partnership that we have as goals as a council and a city around all of our environment and climate change goals. We also revamped the operations of the farmers market. Now we have more scope and more hours that the farmers market is being used. It used to be used for just a handful of hours on a Saturday, and then that's it. This beautiful building that we own was just sitting there, empty, like 95% of the time. But not anymore. We've expanded with a partnership with 10C downtown, who is now looking at expanded hours, expanded days, and different things that people can do in the farmers market. Now, one that really excites me, though, of turning an underperforming asset into a performing asset was the City of Guelph handing over the keys to the Delhi building up on Delhi Street that used to be ours, which is now the county's, which is now going to become home to 28 individuals that are in need of supportive housing. Now, although not a direct change in 2022, I did see that Electra was here today and in attendance, and I thank you for being here. A few years ago, we turned an underperforming asset, Guelph Hydro, by merging it with Electra, which is with 6 other municipalities. And that has turned into more dividends every year coming into the city because of those decisions that we made. Turning underperforming assets into performing assets is a key focus of mine for several years. And I'm very thankful that these examples, and there's more to come, of turning things into a better use of either resources for the community or finances into the community, into the community as well. We also did a lot of heavy lifting when it came to policy work. We set plans for the city's future with council support for the Transportation Master Plan, the Water Master Plan, the Waste Master Plan. We finalized the comprehensive zoning update for across our city. It's in draft form right now, about to be looking to be approved in just a couple of months. It's easy for me to say we did all these things, reaming off these things with 20 seconds on a piece of paper to all of you. But let me tell you, in reality, this is a few years of work before I can say we did this, we did this, we did this, we did that. You also helped in this room, and anyone listening online, anyone in the community, with your engagement and feedback for all those works and all those projects that I just told you about. I want to thank everybody for the feedback to get us to those points where we could actually say yes as a council to those master plans. Now, our economic development and tourism strategy was also finished in 2022. Speaking specifically to tourism, we introduced what was called the Municipal Accommodation Tax, which we hope will generate between $700,000 to $800,000 or more each year for tourism activities and promotion of Guelph as a destination. These funds are generated by hotel and other accommodation stays within the city, so none of the funds are generated through taxes to our residents or businesses. In fact, the Chamber of Commerce is actually a direct partner in some of these things that we are doing when it comes to the implementation of this tourism program. Speaking of economic development, we of course have our own economic development team, our wonderful staff along with manager John Regan, handling our plans there, but Council just last week also approved a motion from Councillor O'Rourke, might I add, a budget for funding to now go to business agencies outside of our economic development team. The Chamber of Commerce, the Guelph Wellington Business Enterprise Center, and Innovation Guelph will now be receiving some funds to help with the business incubation within our community and to help businesses not only just succeed, but to thrive. Speaking of economic development, my friends from the University of Guelph, they released just recently their economic impact for the city of Guelph. Does anybody know, university people can't answer this question, does anybody know that the direct impact is to our local government from the University of Guelph? Not to the government, to the city. It's $2 billion a year. $2 billion in direct impacts for our economy. They are a force that we cannot ignore in our city, and we thank them for their partnership. I want to say, there's a lot of times when I'm doing, the little, hey, you want to come to set up a business in Guelph thing with people? And more often than not, those businesses that are coming to our city They often reflect on the fact that we have a university in our city as to why they want to come here. The partnerships with them are massive. Thank you very much. I'd also like to highlight some transit initiatives that we did in 2022. The first was the Kids Ride Free pilot program that saw, and this is 12 and under, by the way. Yeah, so you 70-year-olds think you're a kid. You're not getting free transit. Just a 12 and under. Yeah. The first was the Kids Ride Free program, and by September last year, 490 fare cards for them were issued. Over 10,000 boardings as well. It's projected to have a 12-month impact of 625 fare cards issued and over 25,000 boardings for kids riding free under 12. We also piloted a new affordable bus pass, especially for those in greatest need in our city. Depending on the criteria that's reached by those individuals, they would pay as little as only $4 a month for transit to get around our city. And that showed huge success. 700 passes increase. We're going to be probably having about 1,500 of those passes actually done by the end of the year. And these programs were such a huge success. I think Councillor Gawler, I believe, brought some motions to council last week at budget. And those two programs are now permanent. They are no longer pilot programs. They are permanent for people within the city of Guelph. I think those are wonderful transit additions. Now, last year, council, in July, endorsed the formation of a downtown advisory group, a strategic advisory group. And I want to thank council for endorsing that. I really do appreciate that. And it released a plan of action that is focused on immediate, medium, and sort of long-term action plans for the vision of the downtown, which is 1, everybody feels safe and everyone feels like they belong. 2, the area is prosperous, activated, and welcoming. And 3, effective health and social services are delivered. Under these 3 points, we focus on accelerating permanent supportive housing, enhancing daytime and overnight services and facilities to enhance safety, both perceived and real. Medium goals are to focus on service design changes, especially for those with acute needs, and strengthen the resilience and the prevention issues that we're seeing. And lastly, long term, we need full policy change. And a lot of that will have to come from the provincial government, especially around homelessness, addictions, and mental health. Now, I want to make a statement about these issues in general. We are a caring community. You don't even need the mayor to say that out loud. We are a caring community. And the public space is a public space for all. However, our downtown cannot and should not be overrun with behaviors that are unacceptable to the flourishing of the public spaces in our downtown core. Spaces for business, for tourism, visitors, and anyone that wants to come to our downtown. We must take these issues seriously, and the city must know that I take them seriously. Now, 2022 also brought in a 3rd year in the row of a reduction in our crime severity index, with a high in 2018. I made it a priority in my re-election campaign at that time to make sure that we resourced things to make our community safer. That doesn't include only police. It includes social service issues as well, and even the use of technology. From a technology point of view, we installed 6 red light cameras across the city. How many people have gotten that in the mail yet today? Oh yeah, sure. There's some of you not putting up your hand for sure. Yep. The police now have an easy-to-use program, speaking of tech, where you can actually upload your video from your home or your business if there's issues that you need to make sure that the police are aware of to speed up sort of investigative matters. We also approved as a council Vision Zero to make sure that we are protecting people not just in cars, but people that are choosing to ride bicycles for transportation, pedestrians in our city. Vision Zero focuses us on those goals. Speed enforcement cameras are going to be arriving soon, so watch it. Our Guelph Wellbeing Grants, community wellbeing grants, they were increased, not introduced, but increased a little bit over the last couple of years, especially with COVID impacts. Those made a big difference with neighborhood groups and others in our community with local programs. All of these things contribute to a safer and stronger city. As the chief has rightly said many times, we cannot arrest our way only out of these problems. The chief is right when he says that. We must take advantage of technology, social issues, and enforcement working hand in hand together to tackle these issues. We also took a lot of steps in regards to energy and climate change initiatives. We have what was called the PACE program, but now we're not going to call it, from a marketing term, by the way, whoever came up with this, gold star, well done, the Greener Homes policy. That's way better than the PACE program, so thank you. The Greener Homes. Council approved that go-ahead in 2022. It's now almost ready to be launched and getting ready for this spring. This is a great financial support for Guelph residents to help reduce their greenhouse gas emissions at home. Basically, what you're going to be able to do is if you have a home that meets some criteria, and you want to look at doing upgrades to your home to try to make it more environmentally sound, help with your energy costs, there is actually an availability of some money that came through the Green Municipal Fund from the Federation of the Canadian Municipalities, from the federal government, follow the bouncing ball there, and it will actually help you to actually do some renovation, construction work, and upgrades to your home, where you can realize the savings right away, the energy savings right away because of those upgrades, but you get to actually look to pay it back actually through your property taxes. Okay? So it's a very interesting program. So as that comes online, please check it out, see if you might qualify or tell others, because the more people we can get to do those things, the better we can do in reducing our energy and helping with climate change in our community. Also, our transit fleet is starting to be electrified. How many saw everything about there a couple days ago with the new electric bus we got? Anybody see that? Only my wife. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate that. Yeah. So yeah, that is our first. I think we got 3 more coming in the next few weeks, I believe. So we'll have 4, but obviously with life cycle replacement over the years, we are going to be changing those into the EV buses, and they're wonderful. Did you know each bus alone will reduce greenhouse gas emissions by about 90 tons of carbon dioxide emissions per year? 90 tons. Another example is at the West End Center. We actually replaced all of the HVAC system, and I want to thank all the citizens of Guelph for their patience with that, because there was a lot of them that need to be replaced. But we've replaced them with heat pumps, and it's better air service and air quality and energy savings there as well. So as we look to do life cycle replacement, whether it's transportation, whether it's buildings, we are making sure that we're looking at through the climate change lens to make sure that we're doing things in the right way. It's better for our environment, and guess what, everyone? It's always usually better for your pocketbook too. So these are good investments to make. Now finally, for this kind of 2022 update section, I just want to give you a lot of stats, kind of throw some numbers at you. I thought these were really interesting. I'm sure this room will as well. This has to do with economic development. So as of December 2022, the labor force participation rate in Guelph was 69.5%, which is higher than both the national and the provincial average by about 5%. So Guelph's participation rate is one of the best. The unemployment rate is second lowest in the province right now at 4.3%, which is lower than the national average of 5.1%. And in 2022, we welcomed millions and millions of dollars of new investment in 2022, millions of dollars of investment into our city. Just 3 of those investments alone totaled over $200 million with the creation of 200 jobs. Just 3. There's way more. So we are still a city to be sought after, where people want to come here. They know that the skilled labor is here, that our city is there for them, to welcome them with open arms, and we are there to make sure that they succeed as well for new businesses coming this way. In regards to building permits, we had 1,183 new units issued. That's up from 847 units the year before. This is just a highlight of some of the things we accomplished in 2022. I know it doesn't capture everything. I know I'd be here for hours if I tried to do that, and I know nobody wants that. We did all this with the beginning of 2022 still in lockdown. Remember that? Like the beginning of 22, we were still really in the height of the pandemic. We also accomplished this with an election in the fall that really took 2 or 3 months kind of out of some of the work that was going on. We really buckled down and we did really good work. So this brings me to the moment in the speech that I warned you about at the beginning. I wanted you to hear my words, my tone. I want to portray to you the seriousness of the issues facing us in 2023, and more than likely throughout this entire term. I need the community to know what's keeping me up at night, and the mindset I believe we should embrace to tackle these issues. So here we go. The provincial legislation changes dropped on cities the day after our own election will have major ramifications on how we handle the housing crisis. Listen carefully. The housing crisis is real. And it's been coming for a few years now. But now it's smacking us in the face and in our wallets big time. Council must come together, and we are, and we will, around what we can to help get more housing built. And that means all types: supportive, affordable, social, nonprofit, rental, market ownership, and so on. It has to happen, and it has to happen quickly. But the quickly part rests on a number of players and a number of layers. The city is one of those players. The development community is another one of those players. But this is a 3-person player problem. The third player is the existing community. So developers, they've got to have their applications full, complete, and ready for that stamp of approval from either staff or council if necessary. And developers have to commit to put shovels in the ground as quickly as the approvals come. The community must stop being NIMBY. Not in my backyard. Must stop. Hear me, citizens of Guelph. More often than not, it is the same recipe of complaints that come from every neighborhood. Not every development is going to destroy the value of your home, cause accidents, and kill or injure children or animals in your roadway. Not every development is going to have parking issues or design elements that you don't like. We are in a housing crisis, and you and me, and probably everybody in this room, is very comfortably housed right now. It is time to embrace different housing types for different people, because communities are made of differences. It's time to embrace YIMBY, yes, in my backyard. And you play a pivotal role in getting housing built. Welcome it where possible. Write letters or delegate in favor to council saying you want these developments because you want to welcome new neighbors to your area and create new friendships. Oh, and by the way, the new developments that come to your area, they help pay for the things that you want in our community too. So if you don't like property taxes going up, you should start getting behind new developments in our community. But then there's the city. We as a player as well. We can be gatekeepers, and we have been gatekeepers. But I'm pleased to see another cultural shift being led by the executive team, and specifically Crystal Walkie, our general manager in the planning department. Council just approved more funding for more staff in this department. We're investing in technology to streamline processes and get things done faster. But council can be a gatekeeper too. It's happened in the past. But so far, early in this term, I have seen no gatekeeping from this council. We must all play together with all of our roles. We cannot, in a community, accept $1,000 a month room rentals for students. And we must no longer accept $2,000 or more a month for a one-bedroom apartment in this community. We must accept supportive housing for individuals in all areas of our community. We have to pledge to the provincial government an agreement of 18,000 new housing units by 2031, about 2,000 more a year. Let us unite and say no more to delays No more gatekeeping and no more NIMBY. We must get housing built. The second issue at hand relates to two significant projects heading our way. The South End Recreational Center and the Baker Street redevelopment, which includes the new library. Now, almost 2 years ago, my campaign manager actually died suddenly, and I miss him greatly. His wife contacted me soon after going through some of the items that were left behind, and asked if I wanted to come and get them from the house because they had sort of a connection with me. So I went over and grabbed the box of stuff and came back to the house. And in his collection was some important front page headlines from our city's original print edition paper, the Guelph Mercury. And I took a picture of two of the headlines. Now, these are the only two PowerPoint slides I'm going to show to you today, okay? The first one is that one. Look what it says. It's from May 2014, and council's being asked for $59 million for the South End Rec Center. Last year, the lowest bid came in at $121 million. Next month, an updated report on the scoping of this project and the costs will come to City Council. But then, we have this headline. This is from June 2014. And Council's being asked for $43 million for the Baker Street redevelopment. It's more than likely triple that cost now. I wanted to show you this because I need to make it very clear. Delays cost money. Actually, I'm saying that wrong. Delays cost you money. Whether you voted for these projects or not, they're approved projects, and we must do what we can to get them done. If we don't, I'll be showing you headlines in 8 years with an out-of-date cost from 2023, and everyone will be wondering why we just didn't get them done in the first place. I want to specifically ask the business community to help, if they can, with these projects, because there's opportunities for you in these projects. But more specifically with the downtown library, there are sponsorship opportunities coming up. Perhaps naming rights, room naming rights, equipment, other things that you may be able to individually or as businesses and corporations look to sponsor with these types of events. Not events, with these projects. Certainly will be an event when we cut the road. Now I'm on my second last point of this section, folks, and this has to do with affordability. Affordability will ultimately be determined by the strategic plan that this new term of council will endorse. The endorsed plan then gets implemented over a multi-year budget, which is more than likely going to be by 4 years. This is a change in our processes revolving what used to be just yearly budgets. Now we're going to be moving to more predictability with multi-year budgets for the community and the work plans from staff. And that will determine the strategies moving into the implementation of the multi-year budget to what gets accomplished over the 4-year time. So hear me out, Guelph. If you want to make an impact on what you should expect from our city, from your council, then you need to engage with us over the next few months as we develop the strategic plan. Let us know what you want your city to be like, but also what you think is affordable. Council plans to endorse the strategic plan in July. So this is your heads up. Decisions have consequences, and especially for your wallet. So speak up, folks. This is the time to tell us what you want. Now lastly, I need you to understand the impacts of homelessness, mental health, and addictions, and the crisis that that's having in our community. You want tone? Here it is. People are dying. People are dying in our community from these issues. Families are being torn apart. Businesses are suffering from these impacts as well. And I acknowledge fully that upper levels of government have many of the solutions we need, especially the provincial government. So I need you to help me. We need to rise together as a community to tell them that what people are going through is unacceptable, that we need funding urgently, or it's going to get worse, a lot worse. The Ontario Big City Mayors Caucus, in which I was the chair last year, made a unanimous call for an emergency meeting on these issues. It's now 8 months later. No meeting. Frustrated is an understatement. Council will certainly help where we can. I know it's of importance to them as well, but healthcare is a provincial jurisdiction. We need to hold them to account just as you would hold me to account for the things that are under my jurisdiction. So, I hope you got a snapshot of just a few of the things that occurred in 2022 with that quick update. And then I kind of gave you maybe a bit more of a serious update on some of the things we're tackling in 2023. Before I take questions, however, I don't want to leave you with the impression that the things I just discussed, especially around 2023, are all negative. It's the lens on which we look through that is so very important. For me, I am not going to waste my time playing the victim card on provincial housing issues. I'll point it out where I need to, and I'll stand up when I have to. But I'd much rather spend my time thinking about how we can get more housing built faster, reducing red tape, and making things easier for people to deal with City Hall and housing. I'd much rather our energy be put into becoming the best and most affordable city to find a place to live. That's a vision I'd like to embrace and have come to fruition. I'd like to put my energy into finding out how to get the South Bend Rec Center and the Baker Street project done with the least amount of financial impacts as possible for our community. I'd like to concentrate on a strategic plan that people and businesses are proud of, but that's affordable. And I want to celebrate when an individual receives the mental health care they need, or the thrill of that new supportive housing room with counseling for the addictions they're going through. The seriousness of these issues doesn't mean that we wallow in them. It means we tackle them together with positivity, kindness, partnerships, and exciting solutions I know are coming. The seriousness of these issues can't be lost, but I know as a community we can get to tackle them and get to the solutions together. Thank you everyone for joining me today, and I look forward to taking questions from you. Thank you so much.